fellow Movie Crusaders, welcome to another episode of Sean's Movie Crusades. My name's Sean Wasserkrug, and today we are reviewing the 2019 version of Charlie's Angels. Now, for me, Charlie's Angels, I mean, obviously I wasn't born when the TV series was out, so I wasn't really a fan of that there, but obviously I was around the right age of the 2000s Charlie's Angels with Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, and Drew Barrymore. I, for the most part, found those movies fine. They weren't like favorites of mine, but they were also movies that if they were on TV, I wouldn't mind watching them, kind of thing. And then of course they tried to do a failed TV series a couple years back that I don't think lasted more than 3 episodes. So when I heard that they were going to be doing another Charlie's Angels, I wasn't necessarily excited or really cared to see it. Especially when the first 2 trailers of this film really focused on the soundtrack and less about the actual story of the movie, which for me is always an inkling that the movie is not that great if you're focusing on the soundtrack of the film and not the film itself. And that's what both trailers for this film really kind of did. It was like, check out the new singles for Ariana Grande and Miley Cyrus and blah, 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 blah. I don't give a crap about music soundtracks for a movie. You know, obviously orchestra soundtracks like Star Wars, Jurassic Park, that stuff's fantastic. But if you're showing me a movie trailer, you need to sell me on the movie itself and the cast and the story, not what music's going to play for a 2-minute sequence when they're doing scenery shots. So I was really going in with this with kind of lukewarm expectations. Now, in terms of the cast, I love Naomi Scott. I thought she was fantastic as Princess Jasmine and as the Pink Ranger. Kristen Stewart, I mean, she's still the Twilight girl to me. I know she does other films, and she's been doing pretty good for herself. But even in the trailers for her, I was like, okay, she looks like she's actually trying to have fun for the first time in, like, ever. And I didn't really know anything about Ella Balinski. I think this is like her first film I've ever actually seen her in. But obviously this is directed by Elizabeth Banks, who we know has done obviously the Pitch Perfect trilogies, which I liked for the most part. And then obviously she plays one of the Bosleys in this film as well as Patrick Stewart. So cast-wise it looks pretty good. It's just like I said, the trailers were leaving me a lot to be desired for the film. So let's go ahead and jump into the review and see exactly what I thought of 2019's Charlie's Angels. The general plot for Charlie's Angels 2019 is that basically we follow these 3 girls. We got Sabina, played by Kristen Stewart. We got Elena, played by Naomi Scott. And Jane, played by Ella Balinski. 2 of them are angels. Sabina and Jane are angels, and they're kind of like in separate groups. Jane is like a former MI6 agent, and Sabina has been recruited by Charlie himself to basically become angels. We kind of see them work on their first mission together in the first scene, which was actually a very good scene overall. And then we jump ahead a year later where their Bosley, played by Patrick Stewart, is retiring. And we kind of get a little more of a full world of Charlie's Angels, that there's hundreds of Bosleys, and each Bosley has angels. So it kind of waters down the whole Charlie's Angels bit, because it's not just 3 girls, it's hundreds of girls with hundreds of Bosleys. Which I guess is good for a sense of if they ever decide to keep doing Charlie's Angels and these 3 don't want to do it anymore, they'll just go to another set of angels from another Bosley, I guess. But it also connects the original Charlie's Angels films and TV series to this movie, as we see shots of Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, and of the original Charlie's Angels as well. So this is, while it's a reboot, is it a connecting sequel in a sense to the previous Charlie's Angels films. But basically, going on with the plot, there's this huge like power energy tech called Calypso that's getting ready to get unveiled. That's supposed to be clean power energy. Elena, played by Naomi Scott, she's one of the chief engineers for the product, and she finds out that the product can be weaponized, and so she's trying to stop it from being released until she can fix it. But obviously, because she's a woman, no one listens to her, and thus she tries to kind of be a whistleblower, but in a sense it makes her a target. Thus, that's where the angels come in to basically protect her and stop Calypso from falling into the wrong hands. That's basically the general plot of Charlie's Angels. Now, what works with Charlie's Angels, I mean, for the most part, it's a very fun movie. I remember watching it thinking, I'm actually having a good time watching the movie. Is the plot great? No, it's not a great plot. It's very... Is the plot that the girls are doing a generic plot? Yes, it is. It's a plot we've seen many, many, many times before. Are the characters' chemistries getting fully fleshed out? No, they're kind of just all thrust together, and they're supposed to just be these best friends that really they had no time to be together. But the cast is actually very well done. I've never seen Kristen Stewart have so much fun in a role. She is easily my favorite part of the film. Her character, Sabina, is hilarious. And I've never seen Kristen Stewart just look like she enjoyed herself in a movie, because in most movies she's in, she just looks like she's having a miserable time in whatever she's doing, where in this film, Kristen Stewart looks like she's having the time of her life, and it makes it a lot easier to watch her. I thought she was the highlight of the film. Naomi Scott as Elena, she's basically playing kind of like the bird, in the headlights. She's aloof, but she's super smart and clever. But because she's just getting thrown into all this, she's kind of learning as she goes, and Naomi Scott does that very well. Ella Balinski as Jane. First time I've ever seen her. I thought she did a great job overall in her role. She's kind of playing the, I guess I would say the Lucy Liu character. If we're going off of things, she's the badass, like, techie scientist kind of character. And I think she does a solid job overall. And of course, Elizabeth Banks does her usual Elizabeth Banksness as Bosley. Big standout for me in terms of the film, outside of Kristen Stewart's Sabina, is Jonathan Tucker as Hodak. I love Jonathan Tucker. I don't think enough people know how amazing Jonathan Tucker is. Anyone who has seen the TV show Kingdom knows who Jonathan Tucker is. And frankly, not enough people have seen that TV series, which if you did, you would know that Nick Jonas is also a really good actor because he's fantastic in that show. But yeah, Jonathan Tucker plays Hodak. He's kind of the assassin, main bad guy in the film that the Charlie's Angels are usually fighting, kind of like how Crispin Glover was in the 2000s Charlie's Angels films. And I'm so glad that he's in the movie, because he needs to get his name out more. He's kind of like a Ben Foster kind of actor, where you see him in things, you know he was good in those movies, but you don't remember him. And this is a situation where we can finally get Jonathan Tucker out there into the world, because we need more Jonathan Tucker in movies, in my opinion. Patrick Stewart, he's basically just playing Patrick Stewart, and like he does in every movie. Digimon Hansu, I always say his name wrong. He plays one of the other Bosleys. In the role he was in, I really liked what he did. Nate Faxon, he plays Peter Fleming. He's one of the guys running Calypso. I mean, he's just basically playing himself. He plays the same role in every movie he's been in. If you like him as an actor, then you'll enjoy his role. If you don't like him, then you're not going to like him at all. But yeah, and there's one other actor that I'm going to bring up, but I'm going to save him for the what doesn't work, because I don't think his character works for me overall. But like I said, for the most part, the action sequences worked for me. Like I said, the characters were fun. And I didn't really look at my watch going, how much longer do I have to watch this? I actually enjoyed what I was watching, and I had a fun time with it, which frankly, for a movie like this, that's all you can really ask for. You're not asking for this epic, this epic film with phenomenal acting or anything like that. You're looking for kind of like a popcorn film of girls kicking ass while looking sexy doing it. And kind of woman empowerment, but have fun while watching it, and Charlie's Angels definitely does that. Now, what does not work is kind of some of the things I said already. The plot's very basic. They try to make the main plot be about this Calypso, but in hindsight, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's never really this big, full-fledged out plot device. I mean, everyone's just trying to get it, so it's basically like a MacGuffin. But I mean, it's just the plot's very by the numbers. There's obviously a twist of a rogue agent, but basically, if you've seen any of these movies, you know who the rogue agent is, and I'm not gonna say who it is. But they really don't make you try to think too hard on it. You're just kind of like, when it happens, you're like, well, duh. We obviously knew it was going to be that person. But yeah, and then of course, like I said, the chemistry of the angels. I mean, they work great together. They're fun together, but they don't really get a whole lot of time to kind of grow together and become friends. They're kind of just thrown into missions and go right into it. And there's a certain scene near the end of the film where one of them is really crying over the fact that one of them might be dying or dead. And it just wasn't believable. Because it's like, you really haven't had enough time to really grow or bond with this girl or this angel. So I'm not buying your emotions towards this at this point. And that's kind of the main problem with the film is, well, yes, the three girls are having fun and they work together very, very well. The chemistry of the three angels is very forced, and we're supposed to just go with it instead of actually see them build and grow together as a team, instead of just three separate identities just kind of forced together because of this one mission. The other big problem for me is this one actor that I said I was going to bring up, and that is Sam Coughlin. Many people will know him from the Hunger Games franchise. He basically plays the guy, he plays Alexander Brock. He's the guy who runs Calypso. For the first half of the film, I liked his character because he was basically playing kind of like this enigma. You didn't know if he was a good guy or a bad guy or just a guy who just doesn't know about how bad Calypso can be. But then in the second half of the film, they kind of turn him into Nate Faxon's character, because Nate Faxon's character is not in the movie at that point, and they needed another comic relief in a sense, and so they turned this character completely sideways and kind of make him a bubbling, whiny little baby, which doesn't really match with the same character that we saw in the first half of the film. And frankly, I hated it. Every time he was on screen, I was just hoping someone knocked him out. Not because he was a bad not because it was bad acting per se. I mean, it actually was bad acting, but the character does a complete 180 with how we were perceiving him for the first half of the film, that it was borderline unwatchable whenever he was on screen. Also, while yes, it expands the world of Charlie's Angels, like I said, it does kind of make it feel like Charlie's Angels isn't as unique or interesting when you find out that there are hundreds of Bosleys and hundreds of angels out there, instead of just these three women who are the best at what they do, and that's why they're hired. It makes you almost feel like there's a Charlie's Angels headquarters in every state of the U.S. and in every country in the world, and it really just kind of takes away the unique power of what the Charlie's Angels is by making you just go, oh, well, I could be the Charlie's Angels of Michigan, or I could be the Charlie's Angels of Texas. You know, it just kind of takes away the mystique of it all by doing that. Like, I get why they did it, but it wasn't a idea that I fully was behind or felt was a good decision overall. Going into overall thoughts, like I said, I had fun with this movie. I didn't hate it. I had a good time, which, like I said, with the movie that we were watching, that's all you can really ask for. Is did I go in not having a good time? No, I actually had a lot of fun watching these three girls go. I think they all had solid performances, and I enjoyed watching them together. If they made a sequel to Charlie's Angels, I would definitely go see it. So I do recommend the movie for people who want to see this kind of film, who want to see an action film with four, if you include Elizabeth Banks, four great female leads, kicking ass and looking good while doing it. Like I said, Jonathan Tucker is a great villain for what he does. Patrick Stewart's in there as well. Like I said, I had fun, and so because of that, I would definitely recommend Charlie's Angels for anyone who wants to watch a summer popcorn movie in the fall going into winter. So going to the review score, I'm gonna give Charlie's Angels a 7.4 out of 10 because, like I said, I like the action, I like the characters, I like what I was watching. I had fun. Is it a fantastic good film? No, there's a lot of problems with this movie. but I had a blast watching it, and that's really all you can ask for with this kind of film overall. So it gets a 7.4 out of 10, but obviously because of that, it does not crack into the top 10 films of 2019 so far. So the same top 10 is going to stay the same, with Avengers Endgame at number 1, Jojo Rabbit at number 2, Toy Story 4 at number 3, Joker at 4, with Parasite at 5, Rocket Man at number 6, Peanut Butter Falcon at 7, El Camino Breaking Bad movie at 8, Booksmart at 9, Us at 10, with John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum just outside of the top 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys feel like this review is worth sharing, go ahead and hit that share button. But most importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to the channel. See how you guys stay up to date with all the latest videos that pop up on Sean's Movie Crusades. And of course, don't forget to follow us on all the social media outlets you see below. Coming up next, we've got reviews for Ford v Ferrari and Dr. Sleep. Also, starting next week, we will do the Movie Crusaders ride through the Star Wars galaxy, as me and other fellow Movie Crusaders are going to go episodic episode for each film, discussing what we liked, what we didn't like, the stories, the characters, all of it. Each episode is going to be dedicated to one of the episodic films, starting with, obviously, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, starting on November 20th, and then we will drop an episode of one of those every Monday and Wednesday after that. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, until next time, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Movie Crusaders.